Alright, let's start this thing. Ikonini. What the heck is this? Alright, welcome to a special edition of the Kissing Annie podcast. And today we have the Kenyan king of podcasting.
You're
the king, you guy. I'm humble, you guy.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay. We'll take it.
You and King Charles. Bro.
Yeah, me and King Charles. King Charles akwa.
Rulers.
He was not friends with Epstein, eh?
No. His toy.
His toy was?
Yeah, Prince Andrew.
Oh,
Prince Andrew kwa shida you guy.
Yeah, he's a stories of Epstein.
Yeah. Okay. During the funeral of his mother, he wasn't wearing that official gear.
What?
Because he was stripped of his royalties.
Oh, okay. So he didn't run away like Nani, Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, those ones voluntarily left.
Yeah, they left.
Do you think Meghan is toxic for that guy either?
I actually don't know, because Britain has this very funny relationship with black people in quotes.
Yeah.
That you normally see if England loses a match, you see Saka, Rashford. When they win, you see Harry Kane. So there's always those racist undertones.
Oh, seriously? Yeah. I've never noticed that.
Yeah. They always have that. So you can't be 100% sure whether Meghan is toxic or what she's saying is true.
So you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Because even you did see the thing where Meghan was holding her tummy when she was pregnant. And this other girl, she's called Kate something, was doing the same. With Meghan, they said she's doing what? Like it was offensive. With this other one, they were like, she's doing the right thing. Yeah. So those people are racist.
It's right to be white, you guys.
Yeah.
Well, that is sad.
They're racist as hell. So.
But they have to be racist considering tunaongea Kizungu.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the things I want to tell you,
and
I think we'll talk about this during the podcast.
Yeah.
You know me, I grew up in, my dad was an English professor.
Yeah, you told us that. Yeah.
So when we were growing up, we used to speak English home.
Yeah.
So my native language is Kibukusu. So I'm not very fluent in Kibukusu. And then I felt like I was identifying more with Black Americans. You get what I'm saying? So even like your come up, there are so many things I don't know about you and many local artists. Because those days I was identifying more with artists, the rappers, Kanye West. So I think that's an era in life, because I feel like you have to identify with where you are right now instead of identifying with a guy who's across the Atlantic.
And I think with the English thing, it depended. Like you guys used to speak English in the house.
Yeah.
Oh, because I think we just used to speak Luo. Ilikuwa ukitoka nje, ongea sheng zako, kizungu zako, ukiingia kwa hao ni I'm not anyone. So at least I understand Luo, but now I can even speak Luo, maybe not the best. Not the best. I can speak like Nairobi Luo. No, with the right accent, but now Nairobi Luo, where if we go really deep, like when I'm listening to Ramogi, I'll be like, what the fuck are they saying? Because that's now deep Luo. But the normal, casual, communicate, ask for directions, fully communicate. Yeah, that one I can do.
Na mtu wako unamfunza Kijaluo hivi?
Kitu moja funny na mimi is, utapata like this week I decide it's Luo, then I forget.
Yes, what's it?
Oh, you've not been that
freaking press record.
It's okay.
What the heck? We'll use that sound, you guys.
Yeah.
But why do you think the Queen of England Mazaya kuarestiwa, you guys?
Queen of England kuarestiwa?
Yeah, man. You guys, those guys for the colonized. Yeah. First of all, we are talking deep English over here.
We're here talking English. We even have like Americans had to come up with their own English.
Can you imagine, you guys? And then our official language is English. And then apart from that, all those things these guys did to the Mau Mau. I think, and this is my theory, because I was want to control media. So it's very hard for their own media to condemn them, because they did bad things. What is Kevin when you Queen and Lady?
No, of course, fuck the Queen. Like, who cares?
You guys didn't feel Jackie.
I didn't feel shit for the Queen. And of course, I don't think she had any powers. I always feel like the Queen is this, and the King, they're these celebrated people with no actual power. Like the real fucking kings with power, those King Henry III. You know those ones.
The ones for those days, huh?
Yeah. But these new ones, I think even Winston Churchill had more power than this one who died.
They're more ceremonial.
Yeah,
right?
they're more ceremonial.
No, but they have influence. Yeah, because they're wealthy.
Yeah, they're wealthy. I hear they don't pay taxes, just like the.
Can you imagine, you guys?
Just like the Uhurus.
Yeah,
Mudhamaki. See, Mudhamaki literally means king. Yeah. So if the king in Britain is not paying shit, why should the king in Kenya pay shit?
Maybe that's why, because see tunatumia the British model.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why our local leaders are walipangi tax.
Yeah, but so ulicheki like this whole controversy. The controversy of Uhuru versus Ruto. So it's about like there's a clause that said that Kenyatta and Moi should not pay taxes.
Yeah.
So that's what has brought up all this bullshit. And those people don't like each other.
Yeah.
You know,
but how come this guy gave him a job then?
I think it was just
keep too busy.
You know, Jones, you can give someone a job just as a fuck you. Plus, it's a mental fuck. But try imagine this guy.
That is funny.
Calls you, like says, "I'm going to give you a job,"
and then he's tukanaing you.
Yeah, and then he's tukanaing you, telling you need to pay taxes. You're sponsoring shit. So I don't know. I don't even know how long Uhuru will keep that job.
Yeah, I think he should quit if he wants to keep his dignity, you guys. Maybe those guys talk behind the scenes.
I know.
Wanaambiana tu mazee, hiyo ni job, hiyo ni story tu ya
politics. At some point niko nafikiria hivyo, especially when you could hear like even guys like akina Robert Alai saying that it was a con game. You had even Babu Owino saying it was a con game. It was not a con game. Raila was just beaten. This guy wanted Raila to be president, but I don't think Raila wanted it bad enough, otherwise he did not have done the same bullshit that he does. So now
those guys were dancing. Did you see that video where they were dancing with kina Mukhisa Kitui?
Yeah.
Alafu kuna mmoja hapo alikuwa anamuita, "Hey, commander in chief."
Yeah, so like, what are you doing? Hakuwa like, alafu mnachapwaje na 200,000 and all you could have done is this. Do you think there's something that Ruto has that Uhuru could not offer to Wetangula and Mudavadi if Raila wanted? You see, so I think Raila was this arrogant dude, like, I don't need these people. These guys
I
just
have
went.
Uhuru.
Yeah, they went with that. It was the Bukusu vote. Nyinyi. Nyinyi watu wa Kenya kwa. So at least, So, I think Raila lost it because ya kuluza watu wawili.
He lost it fair and square, you guys.
Yeah, if he didn't lose Wetangula and nani.
Wajaka walivote you guys as the
Luo. I also don't think Luo was voted enough because pia kulikuwa na ile ya Guinea wasekao. You remember that God bullshit of you taken this thing. And then Luo were like, if without the deep state, like we are always very close, what will happen with the deep state? Hey, shit.
Hivi unakumbuka hizo swali high school? Use the word sembuse.
Yeah.
So sembuse sasa tukiwa in the deep state.
Yeah.
And I think they depended too much on the deep state. And there was no deep state apparently.
Yeah.
I think mwenyewe alikuwa tu amerelax pale ametulia.
Yeah. So there's a deep state, but the deep state didn't feel like they needed, you can also poison people against someone so much that they'd never love him. Like Kenyan politics is very interesting. Like if you go back to the year 2007, you'll find like Kikuyus and Kalenjins hated each other.
Vibaya sana.
And then no one thought that Uhuru and Ruto would work together. But somehow they ended up working together. But the one constant guy who has been hated by Kikuyus in all elections has been Raila, except 2002. So
because he wasn't running for top office at that time.
But kumbuka hata ile time ya Orange Banana, Kikuyus had to deal with this one guy. Fuck you. This one guy who's always a headache. Now you come years later, you're telling them forget all the bullshit you've told you about this guy. Now start loving him.
We've brainwashed.
It's impossible.
There's another pal of mine. This guy, he has a nephew. So his nephew is at that time his nephew was 4 years old. I think ilikuwa 2007 election ama 2000 I think 2017. So this kid was telling this buddy of mine, he was telling, Raila means a liar. Can you imagine? That's a old story.
Because you've been told if you write the name.
That's a kid telling you that. So you can imagine kwa keja the sort of programming. And then now you tell this kid now to vote for
years later, vote for this guy. Take it. So it was impossible. So this guy needed to keep his original base, which he didn't keep. You see? So that's why he lost with 200,000 votes. That's painful. Unajua kichapwa na 1 meter unaenda tu home kwa 200,000 you just see if I took 100,000 from this guy tuko equal.
You guys, why do you think these guys kosana? You guys, Rao and Uhuru and
nani? Sijui. Mi mpaka move kile like one spanked the other's wife kwa corridor because it makes sense. Like these two guys.
Those guys used to be bros, you guys.
Yeah, and right now they hate each other. Mpaka inakazi is not about money because Uhuru made Ruto rich, najua, and
nasikia sijui alimpea 1B or something.
Yeah, alimpatia hizo, alafu pia he got away with a few scandals. Yeah, hizo scandals akina nani? There was always this rumor that watu walikuwa na deliver gunia za pesa ni Karen. You heard that, eh?
Oh yeah. So alafu ati ndio wakachange currency.
Kitu kama hiyo ndio wakachange currency. Watu wamesikia rumor ati the old currency might come back. That would be some bullshit like.
Yeah, that's strange again. Hizo pesa kuna billion flat in old currency.
I think it is affect economy.
Yeah, true. Because there'll be excess money.
Yeah, there'd be excess money. Alafu plus so.
But there were many conspiracy theories about why those guys kosana.
Yeah. So hiyo ndio kitu sijui cause unasikia pia tio liko sana kitambo sana walikosana in 2016 so by 2017 they hated each other's guts but they were working together so apparently in 2016 Uhuru was looking at Wamalwa so Wamalwa must be like fuck because I think that time the state wanted him to win I still believe that the deep state if Kikuyu is in power the deep state will get you through the deep state
if Kikuyu is in power
yes because they unajua you need money and they run business in this country that's why even for Ruto vile anakuja lazima achunge hiyo deep state don't because I feel like right now they're cool with him they're like but akianza hii mambo ya tax na ipeleke sana now you know when you start affecting those really rich people
they flip on you
and at the same time affecting poor people who have all the time in the world
and the vote
now they are actually going to fund hizo protest will anasema
but you guys being a leader is hard work mimi nifanye ma podcast you guys
being a leader is hard work alafu pia if you're not obsessed like move feel like if I had Raila's popularity I'd have been president mi siwezi kwa cause have more pay attention to detail hakuna vile utaniambia dipset wananipatia kula na nilala nitakuwa wanatmatiaje na usiponipatia nini itahappen I'm always paranoid
like you'd bother with the details yes. Like who is in charge of
who's in charge of this who's in charge of this alafu pia mimi hata kitu kama like even the election ungeangalia the way Itumbi was doing his shit on the internet like he's so good hii side ingine like Azimio, I don't even know what the fuck they were doing online.
I think they were just browsing and like I think they were on TikTok you guys.
So they were beaten fair and square. Wanafaa kwa ujinga. Hizi protests was change to zikuwa protests za tax. Like no same they want the
election. It sounds even stupid wakisema hivyo. Check you bana. You sound off. But you guys you've been chopping podcasts for 2 years now. You know I went to your channel. Unajua venye una scroll paka you used to do street interviews.
We used to do street interviews. This economy thing has evolved. Kabisa, it's maybe inaweza kupatia a very fast run through it. So economy is a phrase that came up when I was at Ghetto Radio. So we used to work with this guy called Robo. So Robo used to love giving stories the streets and then he'd end up like ikonene so yes kutukaishia jo ikonene so now from that he was giving us the stories because Ghetto Radio used to have this key balcony so he'd give us those stories tulikuwa pale Sarakasi Dome so Sarakasi Dome there kuna party of offices and there's this very nice balcony you can see like the rest of Nairobi blah 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 so we sit there stories too so me kusikia this ikonene I took it because I was doing the breakfast show na Rapture enough sasa sisi tukanzaga every time we say some bullshit we be like economy
ili stick
yes so we started saying this economy like at around 2008 so said it even Raya when we were starting Raya there was that debate should we call it Ikonene or Raya but I always felt like this name Ikonene has more unajua
it has more width you could play wider with it right
so sharing it with like cause with Raptures cool cause Rapture ni mimi na yeye but the other guy was like an extra person who we are just business so it's like no let's not call it Ikonene let's call it Raya but the interesting thing is we also shot a pilot like a talk show with 2 hosts me and Rapture called Ikonene this was shot by you know her Sarah Migwi
Protel
Protel
the show was still small time
but I was impatient so when because I was impatient walikuwa wanambia like KTN amesema mtu ngoje mi go like iko nene so in the process she couldn't deal with me and that's how now Hapakule ended up existing. If iko nini the TV version had existed I don't think Hapakule would have existed.
News.
Yeah, Hapakule News. Yeah, because it was supposed to tackle the same things. Street interviews, blah blah blah. Yeah. So to kind up to fanya. Yeah, namjua. Hajui ku keep time.
You guys ananga watch you guys.
Yeah.
Generation Z unajua ananga. Cheki venye anasalamia.
Ara sijaje.
Unajua mzaje ni salamia tangu ni meet.
Yeah.
Hivi na mkono.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really guilty. So you work at that thing over there. Karibu, man.
Yes, man.
No problem. At least you're here, man. So, at least you unaweza angalia kamera.
Yeah. So, niko nakwambia so now that show it kind up it never worked out the show with Protel, the icon nini. And then years later now after 2015 like Nation Media Group told me to go fuck myself, you know.
That is with the Raya.
No.
QFM.
Raya was dropped because vile tulienda NTV, there are people who didn't like it. Like there's some people who didn't love that shit.
Even before you get there, I want to know how even you got that TV deal you got.
The TV deal, it's this one guy we used to work with. It's called Humphrey. That guy was he's one of those guys who would say he was a visionary. Because how Raya started, we started online, like in 2010.
You are online on YouTube?
Yes, 2010 online is posting.
Upload now much tao.
Tuko tuna upload sasa sijui because anaturecord alafu anaenda na tu upload. I think he used to work at Canada that time. So maybe alikuwa anatumia internet ya huko. But that's how much alikuwa na vision. Then akiwa hapo sama wakaonyesha mtu alikuwa na work K24. And that's how it ended up on K24. It used to be like a 5-minute show before the news every single day.
And were you being paid?
And that time we'd be paid like I think after a whole freaking month we'd get like 5 Gs. It was some bullshit money. But it was also interesting because we were like, hey, this is the vision. So with this Humphrey guy, like hiyo vision ya nini hiyo sasa vile ilianza K24 ikashika ndio he was approached by NTV and then it ended up on NTV. But NTV also had like these people who are dick measuring, so they used to be like the head of content anashindana sijui na mwingine so mwingine since understand Shanks like what the hell do you have two Rastafarians on because no even Rapture had dreads like so that's not the company whatever, so that's why they ended up pushing us to Q. So they took us from Nini, pushed us to
Q. So Raya was airing on Q.
Yeah. So we started on NTV, then they threw us to QTV. Who knows anything about QTV? No one.
But we remember Raya, you guys.
It was on NTV. It was on NTV. It was on NTV. But
the beat, and then after the beat.
Because I remember clear. You know that you can remember something clearly. That you can remember Jamadelic and all those things. I remember that show of yours very, very clearly.
Because another thing about it is I always feel like also the research, audience research in Kenya is bullshit. This GCAF, Kenya Audience Research Foundation,
it's just bullshit. Some guys chilling in an office, right?
Yeah, because what happened was I remember like this time I traveled to Kitale and this woman was like, Raya! I was like,
Kitale, man.
Yeah, Kitale.
So in those days.
Yeah, you find that it ended up gravitating to even an older audience than everyone was targeting. You know, because these were two young people. So everyone expected this is going to target like this. It's going to gravitate. Yeah. But, Mabuda, we even met some... I don't know how true this was, but we met someone who introduced himself as a lecturer at USIU. Was like, sometimes I use your show to explain how societies does what and what. And we're like, and these were much older people than Sisi. But now ukienda pale, they were like, the numbers are bad, everybody. So
you used to record like, how long was an episode on NTV?
Used to be we had to deliver 24 to 25 minutes every week. Yeah.
Ish, that's long, huh?
Yeah.
So how did you come up with the content?
We'd just check. At least those days, content was much easier because we used to watch news. Yeah. So now watch 2 news, and then we try and come up with some bullshit about the news.
I love all those days. Content wasn't sambazing the way it is now. So you have to hear a story from the news.
From the news.
Maybe you guys. So it wasn't hard to write.
Yeah.
So did you writing or ilikuwa nani?
Ilikuwa na Rapture. Even Nani would help. Because what used to happen is we'd have these ideas, then we go tunaongea tu but unlike a podcast which hata tusipocheka it's okay ile because it was humor driven we'd end up taking even 3 takes.
Ilikuwa lazima wase wacheke.
Lazima tuwacheke. Like sisi wenyewe if me na Rapture tucheki, it's not funny.
Yeah, true.
And when it's funny, it's me, Rapture plus Humphrey. Like everyone goes, then we're like, this is funny. Let's take it out there. Yeah.
So it was pressure, eh?
Yeah, it was pressure. But if you're getting paid, it's not pressure.
And you're being paid well.
Yeah, tuko tunalipwa vizuri. So and alafu tulikuwa ile nilikuwa young, dumb and full of calm. So of course we wasted all that money, but because
where were you pulling that money? Resorts.
This, just spending on bullshit, magari. When you come to think of it later in life, you're like, do you actually need a car as Truly. Your first thing? Unajua, when you're young, like
but
there's so
liberating.
Many. It's liberating, and plus it helps you get pussy. So,
yeah, you guys, there's a time I used to have a Chrysler, you guys.
Yeah,
huh?
Got some pussies, you know.
You guys, maze katikati ya traffic, maze mademo ananitisha namba.
Check it, hello. There's a chicken. You see?
Maze, but most of them are ratchets, huh?
Yeah. So hiyo ndio shida.
So unasema hizo pesa ulifieka mbaya.
Yeah. Kuna vile in hindsight, like saizi najua I know more about money than I knew about then. So utapata hata saizi like with my kid is 7 years old and I've already started teaching her about assets and liabilities because I want to put that in her. Like at some point, especially in this age ile tunaishi, if you don't live far, unajua mtu kama wewe unaishi mbali.
Yeah.
So you need a car.
Yeah.
But mtu yote anaishi like within Nairobi, very close to Tao, even using a cab every day will be cheaper in the long run than having that car because now you have to change tires, you have to end a service, alafu ukipeleka gari service unapataga it's some guy who's doing guesswork, unajua hizo ni imechomeka, you pay for that, haikuwa hiyo, acha tutry hii.
Even me, my car right now is measuring me, you guys.
Yeah.
Maze 1500 a day, you guys, to Kitengela. Can you imagine?
Oh, fuel, eh?
Yeah, man.
Oh, shit.
Nikieka thao nafika, naweza fika Mada na nirudi, but most of the time I have to do other things.
Yeah.
So I always end up after adding some 500, you guys. So I'm like, what? Alafu saa zingine nimechelewa, lazima ni expressway. Like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Most of the time tumekuwa na niona ni tu.
So let's take.
Wao nimeka 15 tuongeze 500.
Yeah, can you imagine every single day? That doesn't make sense, man.
Now I try to imagine hiyo ni fuel peke yake. Ukiongeza hizi ma service na vitu kama hivyo, unaona vile nakutandika. Alafu ile kitu wagambaya ni at least na gari yangu ilikuwa like every year there had to be like one thing that happens that I have to end up spending like 30 G's on or something. Do you have the same shit?
Yeah, all the time you go to the garage.
Yeah, and you have to spend
this guy
so
always
much.
Discovers another thing.
Yeah, and now you look at it. So now if you live close to Tao, it becomes easier to use a cab. Ushaingia kwa cab, the fare is so long mpaka unaonea mtu unamwongeza kambao
180 you guys.
Sindio? Unamwongeza kambao, you're feeling guilty. But now try and imagine how liberating that is. Like you can still move to anywhere you want. You can still keep it as private as you want and not have to deal with all this other bullshit.
Is that how
if
you
don't
chose
have to.
Because you live in a very central place.
Yeah. You know place nimenini. So hata tushindaga nini na wife. Like sometimes she's like, I need a car, and I'm like, that's just peer pressure. Uhitaji gari
for what really?
But she, of course, anawakfa kidogo because now she works in West T, so from nini, so it's a little bit far. Lakini namwambiaga, sawa, you'll get this car, but just use a cab when you really have to. Just use a cab. It's going to be cheaper in the long run.
It's even more efficient. You can read a book. You can catch up with a podcast and stuff. So Raya mukachapa how many episodes?
Raya tulizichapa kadhaa. Naweza sema za NTV, maybe NTV QTV must have been around 26 episodes.
So now there's something I'm not understanding. But when you started airing on QTV.
On NTV.
On NTV.
Then I think maybe by episode 13 now tumepatia maybe a 26. I think it was like a 26 episode deal. Now from episode 14 zikapushiwa to QTV.
Why did they push it?
As I said, the guy who was the head of Nini at that time,
the bitch nigga.
I think it was some Nini, No, the one like the person I'll classify as a bitch nigga in that place was the head of radio, the one that fired my ass. Fuck that dude.
Where?
That's at Nation Media Group.
Okay.
Some asshole was like he was given the job because he could deal with numbers. Like he was one of those political analysts. So you see him there like, you see, if Raila gets this 20,000 from here, then he can win here. It's
the
bullshit.
That guy became the head of radio.
He ended up being head of radio. Like sometimes niko naangaliaga Nation Media Group na just right now I can talk shit because I'm not planning to work for any mainstream media, but I used to look at them and be like, what the fuck are these people smoking? Like, this guy has zero ideas on radio. Like, even when he fired us, I remember I was talking to a friend of mine and itagwa Ian, we still do the podcast with him. Yeah, and I remember telling him like, hii kitu umsana enda kufutwa, he knows nothing about
that
radio
guy now.
Yes, because if you worked on radio unajuaga watu wanaelewa radio. Like hata ukienda place kama like for example Royal Media, there's a guy called Fred Afune.
Yes,
like even when you sit with him, you see this guy,
he knows his stuff.
He knows radio. Like but that dude was like just a numbers dude, and he thinks these numbers are, he's the sort of guy who will tell you like, if you do this today, tomorrow you'll have 20,000 more. You're like, no, it does not work like that. Because radio is about emotion, it's about connection, it's about
and then sometimes you have to build a connection over time. Most times.
So it was not that asshole. It was now a different, there was a whole, I'd say sisi tulikuwa victims of a dick measuring contest. Najua like between the bosses were TV on the NTV side. So one had brought us without the full consent of others. So the others were there like, why are you doing that? So tukaenda tukiwa victims.
Ilikuwa wewe na Rapture.
So mimi Rapture na huo anaitwa Humphrey. So Humphrey was the guy behind the cameras. Unajua back in the days, squeeze watu wa squeeze wanajua tu everything is a camera. Back in the days you needed an actual camera that's been designed to be a camera.
Ni camera.
So that guy yes, he was called he's called Humphrey. So Humphrey had the camera, the lights, the studio. So him is the one who used to deal with them.
But you guys, when you inked that deal, tulisikia poa you guys?
Yeah, tulisikia poa because unajua ilikuwa like, even the way that had happened was like he had us on radio doing that, raya iko nini shit on Ghetto Radio, and then approached us. Because another thing that had happened before that was we actually got deal ya Safaricom, like the first star 544# advert. Watu wajuagi ilikuwa gami na Rapture. The first ad ever ya kuadvertise star 544#. Hata ukienda online with search tu Mwafrika now with an IKA Rapture Safaricom, you'll see us kitambo. So hiyo pia ilitoka from like there's this guy who used to work for Red Sky.
I remember Red Sky.
Yeah, so when he was driving, he's listening to these guys and he's like, since wanataka kuuza internet to everyone,
yes,
let's talk to these guys.
So you guys are reaching everyone.
Yeah, that's how Rapture got his car. Your deal. Alipataga hivyo. Yeye pia alipata tu pesa straight.
Ile 4x4 flani.
Yeah.
Ilikuwa Prado ni?
Alianzaga na ka Nissan Wing Road. But still unajua ile like you get this deal and unatoka tu unaenda unalipa gari cash.
But you guys, that feels nice. You guys hakuna kitu poa ka doza.
Yeah, hizo madoza
za craft.
Yeah, za craft.
It feels good. But how come Kenyan, and I don't know why we're always ending up on such a tangent. Kenyan media houses, why do they get rid of good things? Because kama hiyo show yenyewe ilikuwa imeshika hivi, why the heck
get rid of it?
Would you stop such a thing?
It's a connection. It's like it's a number of things. First of all, kuna CAF really fucks people up. CAF is Kenya, that audience research, whatever. So with them, kitu watu wajuagi, CAF does such bullshit research that I've given this story on the Econini podcast. But there's a time tukiwa campo, like some dude showed up and told us, can you get suits? We're like,
seriously, guy.
Hatuwezi pata suit.
That change your brand.
Tuko campo, just students, campo, just chilling, tumekula madondo, like, can you get suits? Tuko like, no. Akatuambia, kama mnizapata suits, I can get you in at some Kenya Airways like research thing, and then at the end of the whole talk thing mtapatiwa like 1,500 shillings. So sini students, this campus students, tuliomba masuti na tukaenda hapo with some oversized M7 suits. Tumeka hapo tukaulizwa, how frequently do you fly?
Research. But hata mimi na research kai hiyo pali hapa hili.
Ati how frequently do you fly Kenya Airways? 3 times a month. Sayo sijai fly, not even once.
That is funny.
Unaona vile
3 times a month.
Si ndio? Kenya Airways says that ina pro. It's making losses because of sisi ndio tulifanyia research. So now if you look at that's CAF for you. Like they do the most bullshit research and ndio wanarunning. Ukienda kuangalia hizo figures, they're like, no one listens to this station this much. They do bullshit
they
research.
They just get guys who lie.
So that's the reason why that so I can't fully blame at the TV execs because hao wanaangalia pesa. So now if you these calf guys end up giving bullshit numbers that favor you, of course you'll make a lot of money.
You were telling me before it started that these guys should just get rid of all those execs.
Yeah.
They just have a lean machine.
Yeah, if you ask me like what should happen right now, like umesikia vile they are saying that Standard Media Group has not paid people for how long.
Yeah, but in fact hiyo show nilikuwa they've killed that show bana.
Yeah.
Mzee imagine nilifurahi niaje.
Sidi mtu sikia vizuri sana.
They fired all them tulikuwa na hiyo show mwingine walikuwa wamehaya wakamfire. Sasa hiyo wanacheza tu mangoma you guys.
Yeah.
Paka nikaenda social media, Facebook, nikaandika hapo, nasikia hiyo show ya adults ime rest in peace. Mzee imejaa comments. It's called you guys went.
Cuz kila mshinda nayo. Me like even it come to Vibes. I don't know how Vibes is doing. But I always give the story.
It's also died. You got that.
Yeah. Also, always give the story of the way Vibes literally called me from nowhere. They're like, "We want you to work with us," and then they tell me later that no, we are not working with you because you're famous. I'm like, "Fuck you."
They called you and told you that.
Yeah. And then your time. Let me ask you, who do more people know? Nazizi or Mwafrika?
I think Moaf, right?
Nazizi, yeah.
But not Moaf is not more.
No. Okay, if
for speaking.
Because for speaking, najulikana. But unajua hiyo time walinikata ati juu niko famous. Unajua, so that's why I had a problem with that. Of course sikuwa na shida yote na Nazizi getting the job because me hata sikuwa na go for show ya Nazizi. Nilikuwa nafaa kwa breakfast show. But they looked for me just to tell me fuck you. You know how fucked up that is? Yeah. Kajitombe. I'm just chilling, someone calls you like, "Hey, how are you doing?" "Ah, you're good." "Okay, fuck you." Then
you're like, "Why did you bother my peace?"
Yeah, I think so mi hizo na fryers kienda chini. So nilikuwa nasema hivi, angalia station kama like Nation Media Group, backbone ni gazeti, si ndio?
Yeah.
Standard backbone ni gazeti. You're in your 40s, eh?
Yeah.
I'm in my 40s. When's the last time ulinunua gazeti?
I don't even remember you guys.
So who the fuck
the last
is
time I came across a paper was nikifanya job huko Standard.
Mabuda zetu wakiwa 20s 30s
daily.
Si ndio?
In fact it was my work to go and get
Yeah.
The other side, what about us? Hakuna hata mtu anajua gazeti.
So now jiuliza hii kitu, if all these guys who've been working when newspapers were the shit, you can try and imagine the salaries they're getting. Get rid of these people, get some underpaid, very like like
graduate juzi from
watu wako
Kenya
driven
Institute of
kabisa.
Management.
Alafu wawak hizi vitu because don't forget, like if Nation straight after independence, who was working at Nation? It was not 50 and 60 year olds, must have been 20 year olds, 30 year olds. Get those in, underpay them, and
but no, but it's true.
They'll appreciate
the experience.
That you overpay, some asshole is getting paid $1 million and he's still saying, don't worry, they'll read the newspaper. Who'll read the newspaper?
Yeah. Me najua those guys are stuck in the past.
Gazeti yangu ni Twitter. If it's not on Twitter, it's not important. Mi hata hii beef ya Uhuru na mimi nimeisomea tu kwa Twitter na imeishi hapo. Nikienda YouTube is to watch the longer clip.
So those guys need to
like think about it. Unaona hizi stations za maju. Angalia wako TikTok mbaya. Angalia kina Daily Show.
Everyone is
they've adapted. But you see, they may be on TikTok, but they haven't gotten rid of the fat cuts. So you have to get rid of the fat cuts for you to be, because also the money is not as fancy as that big money they're used to. But now if those fat cuts are still there, it's unsustainable.
Maybe even like something some people might not know is when you work on radio, shit is fucked up. Utaingia mtumia mic moja, you're using one microphone. There's one asshole who's using this one mic who gets paid 500 Gs. Then there's you who gets paid 15,000.
Yeah, true.
Like you're like, what the fuck?
Hata mnaweza kuata the same show, man.
Alafu your time numbers, it's not like this asshole is bringing any numbers. It's just that anapendwa ama ashaivulia mtu suruali ama ashaivua na suruali. So
it's
suruali
a
usaidia.
world, you guys.
Suruali usaidia. Kauza vua.
It opens doors. You open the pali. That is so funny.
Presenters fulani kina Janet Mbugua na Hussein. Walikuwa the same show. Hussein was underpaid. Janet ana receive about 700 Gs. Hussein anapata about 50. But Hussein ni mnoma kushinda Janet.
He used to be paid less than Janet.
Yes. But I think by the time Hussein left, he'd reached that level.
But before ile time Janet alitolewa South Africa. Akaletwa. Janet was earning 700 G's.
That happens. Like even I remember
saying the numbers.
Nakumbuka hiyo around your time I think pia nilisikiaga kuna hii time. But you remember that time these presenters were actually presenters. They were actually famous. Right now there are people reading news who we don't even know. Unajua? Because kitambo ilikuwa do you want news? Yes, wacha tungoje Janet Mbogo anasema nini? Wacha tungoje Hussein anasema nini? So right now why are these other people getting overpaid? Like it's a whole different time. So mi naweza sema like hii kitu ni easy kabisa. Watu wa kata salaries za watu alafu pay watu kitu najua like if you're paying one asshole like 500 G's you can pay 5 people
can you imagine how many guys you can sustain with that money?
And these 100,000 people will be very motivated more than this 500,000 dude who thinks they are celebrity or you're reading news you're not discovering at is you the cure for shit unasoma tu alafu the only thing unasoma ni juu maybe you have a nice accent ama you are whatever sisi siku hizi what has Mungai event nani taught us and Lynn Kenyans don't give a fuck about your accent they just want good content so hakuna haja kuoverpay watu mi naweza ingia pale mi naweza save hizi vitu zote uga nimejiamini mbaya I can save Nation Media ingia pale if you get paid $1 million stand there
watu wa 1 million pagini line up
you're fired
you guys that'll be a day of tears.
20 kaeni hapo don't worry you can even knock you for the next 7 years same salary.
In fact you'll take some of their money and boost out to 20k
sindio
so what happened between now Raia and when it ended
it ended shit man. I went through some shit like I always joke that when I hear Sauti Sol saying that mtoto kuja na sahani yake they only forgot to say the sahani iko empty because when that happened now I lost my job. Remember what I was telling you like I had at some point I had 3 cars you
you are rolling and short
I was not saving money so shit may happen I don't have any savings because I thought Nation Media Group ni ya mamangu so I don't have any savings so I went through some shit like for some time like my bro used to pay my rent like apart from that even kuna time like Rapture used to bring diapers and shit
so that time I remember you told me you had a toy at that time
so I went through some shit so like alafu najua eventually unakam na discover like all this time because you know mimi mtu nilianza kuwa na internet kwa hao kitambo you know kitu like watu wajuagi like me everywhere I go to the first thing I normally ask is there internet so kuna place nilikuwa naishi Ngara like this was like in 2010 ilikuwa na WiMax ya Safaricom then I think by like 2012 tayari Zuku alikuwa shakuja when Zuku was Zuku acha Zuku ya sahizi so all this time alafu I had cameras microphones all this time ningefanya tu ka podcast
so ulikuwa nazo hiyo time
because I had mics.
No, that means that's where your money was going you guys
and I always invested in equipment but nilikuwa na invest in equipment nikitry kuingia TV like everything I'd shoot was pilots
you wanted to redo your success with Raia more or less
check it so there was never just self-employ yourself go to the internet and just let it grow slowly
no but at that time was the internet ready for distribution was it right for it ama ungekuwa one of the pioneers
nimeambia watu kuna kitu nimekam kudiscover and I'm sure this was true even from day one if you ask Andrew Kibe the secret to success you ask me even iko nini the secret to success it's the diaspora crowd it's not the Kenyan crowd yes it's good but the people who are going to like send you cash and be like good job those are diaspora people and they'll send you enough to pay your rent unless unaishi Runda they won't send you enough to pay your rent so your time like with the same whatever I could have been able to pay rent and you know like do a because kitu funny ni we actually started a podcast mimi wewe anaitwa Ian and we recorded like 2 shows got like 20-30 views we're like fuck this shit and we stopped because podcast started because naitwa podcast by then so we didn't know we were just 2 people seated just discussing stuff and
then you didn't know if there's a market for this
we didn't know there's a market because silikuwa najua pia the same mentality it was let's start grow an audience then tuende Safaricom watulipe it was never about the funds
most Kenyan artists have that model
so kuna hiyo
so how did you get out of the rat
hii rat funny enough naweza sema nimetoka tu 2021 and that was Zack because I think 2020 that's when I got the fuck you from Vibes, like when they call me. Walichokoza. So 2021 ndio like I think even from late 2020 Zach just kept harassing me, let's start a podcast.
Where did you meet Zach?
Zach tumejua na over 20 years like kitambo, because Zach tulijua na ile time like see we were hip hop fans. So
they call hip hop fiends.
So now the only way to get new albums was through other people. So one of the people I knew was Zach na pia Jua Kali. I just met them through that. So niko nakwambia
no, I was asking you how you got over there. So nikakuuliza how you met Zach.
Zach akasema tuanzisha podcast. So that's when we started the podcast. Now I delayed it for like 5 years.
You delayed for 5 years?
Not 5 years, 5 months. Like I think alianza late 2020.
Kukupesta.
Kunipesta. I have to kanza May 2021. So the interesting thing, hata hiyo siku ile nilienda kurekod na yeye, I was bored. Alafu nakunga nikiambia wife like wacha tu nidu hii kitu ndio nisiudhi Zach. Like he's been wanting this for so long. He insisted on a date I gave him today, so let me just go. And then that's how I went. Nienda nikakaa chini. And I'd say that split decision ya kwenda kuifanya was a good thing. Alafu pia I think another thing that also made me do it apart from Zach was wife waga we are assholes to each other but in a good way. Like we'll always talk shit to each other, but so wife atakuwa zile za so now you had all this talent on radio media, you just want to waste it.
Should throw those comments.
Unatoa hizo
unasemaje?
Sasa unajua zile uko like okay sawa, let me also go so that she can shut the fuck up. Alafu naishia. So that's how it started.
You guys, I was watching but then you guys, you know you're the one who inspired me to restart this podcast of mine.
Which is good man,
because you guys nilikuwa nachapanga hiki to home after quitting my radio job without knowing where I'm going. So I went through a very rough time. So what I did with because I was paid my last salo. So my last salo nikanunua hizi vitu.
Okay.
Nikanunua hii kitu, hizi lights I think nilifanya gig. Nikachukua I underpaid some comedians. Nikabuy hizi lights.
Capitalism. Lazima.
Then I bought these 2 mics. And then I was just at home. I didn't know what to do with them. I had them. But I just kept them for like many months. Alafu so nikaanza kuchapa show fulani kwa nyumba. You know, because I'd watched Andrew Kibe. I'm like, maybe I can try a solo show. And then I was in Liquid. So I couldn't move around to meet guys and do interviews. So after a while, mazi that thing haiko ina work out. Your podcast. So I went back to comedy full time. And then juzi nikakam to your digs. Then I saw all these things. Also this guy came and then I was telling him, why don't we start doing a podcast? And then fate would have it, you called me, then I started. So
we were thinking about it.
The universe aligns itself.
True. So it's exactly what you were saying. Sometimes you have all the tools you need to get you out of a rut. But hizo ndio vitu unadharau mas. So there was a day I was scrolling down your ikonini. So nikaona umesema mazee wase cheers majamaa, tumeona muliwachu yetu ya kwanza, nimepata 250 views. I'm like 250 views.
Like we used to like hiyo ni kitu moja funny like YouTube, what I've come to learn about online is hizo 250 views turn into 5,000 views. It just takes some time. So you just have to be patient and then you hope the 5,000 views will turn to 50,000 because sisi hatujafika level ya 50k. The only time nime hit 50k is with guests like Okto, Winnie Odinga, you know, like those ones. Zifani enough kadi ya tukufikaga 50. Ilikuwa Okto, Winnie, Kalala, because Kalala just came and threw her legs like this and dudes, I don't
thumbnail alone.
I don't know if people are jacking off to that. That thing has like 150,000 views. It's
Seriously?
like our most watched video. So kuna hiyo so hizo they turn into something. That's number one. Alafu you can pia kitu nime notice, you can have a very small audience and still make something out of it.
Very engaged.
Yes, if they love the content. Because as I was saying, like notice in Andrew Kibe, there's a time Andrew Kibe aliendaga live. I remember nilikuwa na watch your live. So Kibe was like, I want to buy I had to buy a laptop.
I saw that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then people were like, I'm sending 400. Yeah. I'm sending,
In fact, there's one guy who just paid 400. I think imebaki. So when was the first time you got some solid support ndio ukaona this thing can be sustainable?
Hey, sisi tumeipata maramob. Okay, the first time I think, funny enough, the first time was local, if I'm not wrong. There's a guy called Kennedy. So ilianzaga small time. So ilianzaga small time, I think, with a guy called Omedo. So Martin Omedo is this Kenyan who's also like a fragrance guy. So he collects fragrances. So nikali amwa hii mwezi sinunui fragrance. Ama at least atakana nunua. Wacha sinunui expensive thing. Wacha ni throw ya watu kitu. So I think it threw us like 1K. And then...
How far in? That was
that was like episode 5, 6. Najua like this guy tukona less than 1,000 subscribers, less than 500 na shat kurushia tao. You now start thinking the bigger the numbers, the bigger the...
Yeah, true.
So kulikuwa na yeye. Then I think there's even a guy who sent us like a sock. Anaitwa anaitwa jina yako tu. Imanu. And then afterwards kuna msefulani wa chess anaitwa Githenji through 1,000. Then now a Kenyan called Kennedy through like 10 Gs.
Seriously.
Then after who Kennedy, I can tell you there's also another Kennedy saizi wa states. We call him the silent patron. This guy has spent, I think, if we were to take everything he's ever spent on Iko Nini, would be even 200 Gs.
Serious, man.
Apart from him, there's a girl called Blessed 112. Really loved your interview. Like Blessed loved. Hata niko show hii podcast yako atawatch. Blessed pole gani nimekurushia noma. I think also Blessed has spent like over $1,000, close to $2,000 on Iko Nini.
What do you think these conversations are they therapeutic to people?
I think so. There's another guy called Okeno Muranga over close to 2,000.
I think
another one called nani like squeeze kudanganya, especially now the Kisses nikiwekea tu list ya Kisses in America. This neza sema kuna Okeno Muranga, kuna nani a friend of mine called Moguche. There's Moguche tulikuwa na Seko. There's who else? There's msanaitwa Mobek, like head of the diaspora. These people, if I was to put all their money ile washa spend on Iko Nini, it would be even it's over $1 million shillings. And these are just funds. And the funny thing is they never tell you what to do, because now you have the other fans who don't spend shit, and I respect that, but don't tell me what to do. Nakwambia buda badilisha, then change this. You're like
but how do you know what feedback to listen to and what to ignore?
I always ignore feedback that tells me to do something like someone else. Because most of my guys, like the only ile kitu metufikisha where we are is because we are different. So if you're telling me you should do this, that means it's been done before.
So don't be like and then did you ever have that feeling, because that's something I also struggle with, you're feeling you feel ashamed to open the doors for guys to send you money and stuff like that?
Me, I've never felt ashamed. I don't know why. It's because tukiweka hiyo number hapo mbele, we didn't expect anyone to send anything. So when they sent, I'd only feel ashamed if I don't deliver, or if the quality goes down. But if the quality keeps improving, like all these people that nimetaja watakwambia by time walianza quality even ya camera ilikuwa hivi, by saizi iko hivi, quality ya sound ilikuwa hivi, saizi iko hivi. We always invest back to the whatever. Like tuna buy lights, tuna buy whatever.
So how did you start? You started with a phone?
Yeah, started with a phone. Samsung ilikuwa A71.
Ilikuwa yako ama ya Zak?
So ilikuwa yangu. Samsung A71. Alafu kitu fani ni hiyo ndo kamera tulishoot nayo till majuzi tu ndo tumeanza kutumia iPhone. Na hiyo kamera ukiangalia episode 1 na uangalie the last episode it shot, it shows you it's never about the equipment. It's about how to use it. Like episode ya kwanza kulikuwa mpaka na malines kwa screen. By time niko namaliza kuna wase wengi ukama like, "Ai, mnatumia phone?" Ambia hii ni A71.
Yeah, true. Me, I didn't know you are using a phone.
I
think someone told me mwenye alikuja nini yako. Podcast.
Tunacheki. Kana ni tulishoot anaitwa for example, what's his name? I think Amandip. Na nini kwa 100% sure. Dag ni kwa 100% sure. Dag na Tai. Wote tulishoot na hiyo A71. When ulikuwa like one
so
of the first
people. So you did like 100+ episodes with that thing,
A71.
And then now you flipped to the quality. I remember iPhone. One day the quality just became
iPhone is
1,000% higher.
iPhone is we are still studying it. Like I can pia nazaambia watu like by the time tumekaa nayo for like 6 months the quality is going to go higher because hizi vitu is you have to tweak, play with this, play with that, then eventually you find like this looks good all the time because hii kuna time inakaga vizuri, time inatufurahii the look, so there's always that.
So have you opened a Patreon where you throw in extra stuff?
Yeah, there's Patreon. Iko.
Do you throw in other things
like right now ile kitu iko ni we did a live show like with an audience, with a live audience.
I saw it at Unseen.
Yes. So that show that we did is on Yapo. Alafu pia kuna another one that we shot where we were talking about marriage and fatherhood. So it was me, Rapture and Ian because our wote ndio tuko married and we are fathers. Zach bado ni muhuni.
Zach is not yet. Hakuna mtu amempin down but
yeye ndiye hataki kupiniwa down.
I think atapata tu mtu.
So we did that pia kwa Patreon. So tuko huko pia. And we have like how many? We have like 16 subscribers.
On Patreon. It's growing every single day.
It's growing.
But now do you do the editing yourself?
Yeah, we just do editing.
So how much time do you spend on this podcast in a week? Well, it takes majority of your time.
Yeah,
right?
It takes a lot of my time.
Because how many shows are you producing in a week?
So the good thing is the actual shoots zile sufanya per week naweza sema it's on average 3 shoots. So we have the live on average I'd say 4 shoots. So we have the live does not have a lot of work apart from kuset up na nini alafu let's go live but now zile na need kuedit ni kuna hiyo inaitwa weekend update mfanyaga na Rapture.
That's a new one though.
Yes. Alafu sasa kuna the Iko Nini podcast itself, me na Zach we do like two recordings in a week plus so yes it takes a lot of time but what has helped is what do you use to edit. So now getting like a very fast computer has helped.
So the rendering
is fast. So kuna ile hata uta notice editing when I have time kutakuwa na madoido kaya yako nilikuwa na time because ilikuwa December tuko najua kuna nini so uta notice yako kuna newspaper articles so hivyo alafu kuna zile wakati pop imeweka tu kwa kuna time yako
you guys your episode yako ya Rapture was quite I really love that episode you guys.
When
it was nini about his life
I like that episode for 2 reasons. Number one, you and Rapture sort of we're in the same age group, so I really relate with some of the stories you guys tell. Like I'm normally so happy to find people who are in my age group and they're doing this thing and then they're true and they're not hiding, you know, like ukiona kai episode ya Rapture he was just talking about his life like maze karibu nilie you guys your episode you guys that thing really shook at me.
It was sad and funny at the same time.
And then now we don't have a lot of that. We don't have older guys. In fact, there was a time when I was trying to tinker with ideas of what to do. I came up with an idea at nitakuwa na chill na mambuyu. So that they share some of those stories that they have, you know, the experience in life. But now the minute you switch on the camera, they clam up. So I feel like do in your demographics in the audience, do you have many people who are in their 35 and above who consume
yes. It's interesting. Like even I have to shout out, and I'm going to make sure he watches this show. There's this guy who's based in Colorado. So anaitangwa Natal is 52 years old. So Natal, the interesting thing is his firstborn son is 32. He has another one who's 28 and I think his daughter is 24. Alafu daughter yake waga msupu so unapanaga ambia kasi don't even try it.
Anakwambia tu live.
So Natal who's 52 was telling us he learned about Iko Nini from a Kenyan living in America who's 70 years old.
Seriously.
So alimit atikwa some cookout and then this old woman kept saying Iko Nene. She's like, what the fuck is going on? Then from that akanini. So there's a very huge part of our audience naweza sema ni hiyo kuna hiyo still okay of course the young 35 kwenda chini ndio wengi but pia 35 kwenda juu yes there's a lot na inaenda mpaka huko 60 70
like this guy is like 21 you guys you guys old you guys you guys this guy is a toy you guys
toy
so this guy really watched that
podcast but I really watched that podcast
asante
before nikuje nijua na nini like
so what makes you watch it
the comedy part like you wase wako true unajua nyi wase hii jenu wengi wenu
have a stick up there
like you are saints so so go the kaji
and I think that's what we need like in regard to younger people don't have true people to look up to true mtu mwenye atakwambia yenyewe kijangu ilifungwa last month
hakunaga hiyo
unakumbuka venye Rapture alikaa tulikuja kwa comment kwa sio wengi simkuanga na Rapture every and then ikapika
but then how did that happen how did you guys agree to
the funny thing was originally the podcast even when Zach was telling me to yanze one of the reasons why it took a longer time maybe even the 5 months was we were trying to get Rapture in because I knew that Zach hapendi kuongea sika mimi because Zach unajua is a DJ loves talking with his hands so he seemed to as talkative as much so originally kuna fa kwa Rapture that's why ukiona interview Rapture he talks about depression because he was going through that whole phase he was going through his divorce all this and you know as a man you have to face it alone so we didn't know si hatujui
onyewe mnajua story
hatukuwa najua because tukiponga naye ilikuwa zile za it just shows you how men just deal with a lot of shit
like juzi a man hapa I don't know if you watched your episode of Aman. No, I've just uploaded it. Aman over here, he just sits and tells me the way when he was at Toy, he was molested, and some guy nyonyed his dick, you guy. So now I was watching the episode. How I reacted was I checked you guy. Check so nilicheka paka nikafanya hivi alafu obviously I was feeling him I was feeling his pain
but he's a comedian
but I'm still laughing you get what I'm saying so I think that's how men deal with
apart from that
pain.
Comedians there's a time when a comedian will tell you something and the fact that we are so used to nyi kutuchekesha we'll end up laughing and it's not unaona
like pia comedian mwenyewe ataitoa
in a funny way in itself
and then mtu mwingine hata realize umse anamaanisha
true
how do you notice this clip which was going around kwa reels there's another American comedian I think in Asian who was like when I was 9 years old I was thoroughly molested by someone with Down syndrome
seriously
thoroughly molested kama ni vigorously Hama alitumia vigorously molested. Maka msana muuliza like, do you have to use your vigorously?
Na wase wanaisha.
Watu wanaisha. So kuna kogana hiyo element ya nini. But yeah, Mandip, I have to go. Lazima niende ni watch chap.
So you guy, you're the interesting thing about you, and that's one of the reasons I called you here, is you're one of the first guys who, like, of the level where you are. Maybe you don't know what level you are, but people who are outside can see. Number one, you're one of the guys who's really been sharing this podcast. And then apart from that, you're one of the guys who've really pushed comedy. Like you invite comedians who to your platform. Most of the time, guys who invite people who are already established. But you just take a guy,
if I think someone is funny.
Like you invite the people you like. Like where does that come from?
I think it's because, stand-up comedy is something that's very interesting. Like if you love it, you just love it. And you end up loving comedians because you end up loving like just seeing people on stage and unajua turn either a very personal moment into this very funny thing. So that's something that I loved kabisa. So now coming to a podcast where we want to share and be vulnerable in quotes, I felt like even after kuwatch vitu zenyu za nini like stand up collective, punchline comedy, hiyo Karura na kwa Karura comedy club, I was like, hey, these guys are doing the same thing ile sufanya but sana now iko na humor. You understand? Like comedians will talk about life but now give it a humor or whatever. So I was telling myself that this is the sort of person that if I sit down with, we can have a conversation on a wide range of things.
Because you're on the same vibration.
Same vibration.
So which show did you go for first on this new comedy scene? How did you discover your scene?
Funny enough, wife waga, my wife is one of those like, she also loves stand-up comedy to come in. And I think even one of the things waga imetu
bond.
Yeah, imetu bond kabisa. So I think vile nani Amandip alitoka Churchill because she used to tell me this very funny Indian comedian unajua me time expect you know what you expect
character plan
then you find so sasa nikalikuwa nafuataga Amandip alafu after kufuata Amandip akaanza kufuata
the rest of the crew
so I end up on Apple. So kuna ile time nakunga nikiwatch the first time alinichezeaga clips zenyu alinichezeaga kaa yako ile ya the toilet the water hiyo akanichezea ilikuwa joke ya Mandip ilikuwa ile ya porn, alafu
tie ABCD.
Yes, tie ilikuwa hiyo joke ya nani Shimolatewa. So after that's when I was fully interested now. So, but I think the first one ile nilikam physically ilikuwa hapo inaitwa
Mayura.
Si Mayura. Hii place Tao.
Number 7.
Number 7. Number 7 ndio ilikuwa. Baba nilikuwa na watch kitu online but sikuji, so ilikuwa number 7 alafu sasa Mayura.
Nilisikia ulika Mayura nikashangaa. Cheki mwafo za Mayura.
Alafu the funny thing is tungekuwa tushakuja more ni vile tu jia mtoisi tunaga mboch, so this is like we have to be there for the kid.
American
but ingekuwa hiyo nini nini, but even that's one of the things that tuna plan to do this year more. We've been saying we want to go to like all of them, hizo mmekuwa mkifanya like go na Sato wana
but they Sato na come you guy
you Sato tuna shoot weekend update after Arsenal. Do you know how fucked up that is?
Yeah, true. That's
so we're shooting after Arsenal.
So now you came for the roasts, eh?
Yeah.
You guys know me, I was hosting the roast and I didn't know you're there. Kwani ulikuwa unakaa wapi?
Nilikuwa unajua ukikampleska kayo lazima ukae chini ya maji kusikia nyewe wagalaza ovyo. Sio gala. Because kuna ile nenda Mayura na nilishaina mimi.
Nani?
Bashir.
He noticed you.
Yeah. Alinitandika. Because alianza like, "Hey, this is guy called Mafrika. If you're not on Facebook, you don't know him." Kwa nje bila sini wazee. So he started that. So mimi kikamigi niko chini ya maji kabisa. So hiyo nilikuja ile uko na host. Kuzilikuwa ilikuwa Bensol ama ilikuja gani? Why do you host Bensol?
Bensol, yeah. No, I didn't host the first 3 episodes. So after the first 3 episodes they waliniita. Me, I wasn't even going for those roasts. Nilikuwa nasema what the heck is this? I don't feel like doing this.
So nilikujaga hiyo ya Bensol, so nakumbuka ki roast wase hapo pia kwa crowd. So Mr. Gagizo, so niko tule chini ya maji.
That was actually sad when, because you know niko na hiyo problem. I think I told you when I was on your show. Niko na hiyo problem I don't know many local celebs. So when he come, but I know you. So when niliambia umsa alikuwa, so I was like, maybe that guy thinks I'm a snob. I didn't mention him.
Kuna zile za nini, like some of us are also accidentally whatever, it's not like something we went looking out for. Ni kitu ile happen. So like kuna I have najuaga iko nini right now because it's online, maybe crowd inaanza kuongezeka. But for radio you had to be a hip hop fan to know Africa. It was not like I was playing everything like Willy Tuva, so more understand what walijui. I would never take it personal.
Did you used to have a website for downloading music?
Like how I used to download my own music?
No, I don't know, because we used to go to the same cyber cafe. Norwich Union 7th floor.
Norwich Union,
so you used to go there to download your own music.
Yeah, to download the music that I'd play on radio. Yes, I'd go there.
Just wait a minute. You guys want to tell me you went to the same cyber, like you're talking as if a cyber cafe was this like
no, there was a particular cyber cafe which many people used to go to.
Iko na high speeds. So there were a lot of cyber cafes. Zile utaenda pale kabla yahoo.com load. Alafu kulikuwa na hiyo Norwich Union, it was very fast. So tulikuwa tunaenda hapo, it's fast, you'd go there to download music. So even in a car you also used to do this.
Me I used to do graphic design kwa hiyo cyber cafe. It was a whole floor. Like a whole floor.
Unajua mnaongea casually kama
no. Like hii unajua tume ati adole, like these people are lucky. Can you even try imagine that you want to jack off, you have something to refer to. Sisi ni memory.
You guy, that cyber you pay 200 bob and you can do like 5 hours browsing. So I used to live here because I used to live up Amadayo time. Naenda kwa it was like my office and many people started there. You know, many people started there biasharas there.
Hapo.
So this guy used to be there anafanya vitu zake. So that time when did you stop rapping?
When did I stop rapping? I'd say maybe around 2013. 2013 ndo niliacha. I was like, ile za, you know, because kulikuwa na ile, there's a time when, because also being a rapper requires like a certain level of inspiration where you feel like this you can still make something out of it, you know, as much as it's a hobby, you want it to bring something. Then at some point I noticed, hapa haitaleta chochote, let me just do other stuff.
So you projected ukona
ngekuwa tu nini because me I think with me like a lot of people used to gravitate kabisa towards my media stuff than my rap stuff so kulikuwa na hiyo so you will have the few who go hey rap mwafu kwa rap but ikikam to media it's like a lot of people like yeah mwafu ni inspire kufanya hivi kuinspire so that's why even I feel like with the podcasting
you feel like you're right up your alley. Yeah. So you don't have any regrets for
I don't have
for stopping rapping. You guys used to be in Starch?
Yeah. Kuna va shots kuna zisag ilikutokea ile time ya Tupac and all that bullshit.
Kwani ulikuwa mrui wa Starch you guys?
Yeah, funny enough like people just used to sag. Unajua that's unakuwa 90s kuna hiyo wave ilikam like up late 90s there's a whole wave that came after Biggie and Pac died.
Yeah. You guys I was deep in that wave.
Yes, where everyone wanted to be associated with rap.
Yeah.
So nakunga hiyo time hapo Starch like you'd find people with walikuwa na sag shots zao and then now hapo koka bag ka hip hop kaanza kuniingia so by the time kana niingia unapata pia mimi nimesukuma kashati hivi chini sag kidogo
ulikuwa Starch which you guys hata unajua Starch ni nini? Okay, I thought I've lost the generation Z guys. Oh, you cleared in 98, which is just a year before. You guys, you're 1 year ahead of me.
Oh, well, class of 99. Okay.
You guys, what was that guy like? This guy called Griffin.
Griffin was a really cool dude. He was really cool because you know that school doesn't have corporal punishment. You know that
guys weren't being fixed.
Yeah. So the only guy who used to beat people was Griffin. Na Griffin alikuwa nakupiga ilikuwa 6 strokes of the cane when because there used to be the two ultimate punishments in Starehe were something called working party. So working party is literally what it's called, it's a working party. Ni nyinyi we mnaenda kuosha ma class.
Right.
So you'll wash classes like zote za
so you gathered all of the working party members alafu na
so mnaosha ma classes because there were no employees to wash the school. It was the students who used to wash. So there was the working party. So now kwa utaki kwenda working party you can take 6 strokes za whatever.
It was an option.
Haikuwa mkono ilikuwa rasa. So him rasa anachapa hivi he'd like at certain distance he'd just be like 1 2 3 yes.
So see me I'll take the nini you guys.
Yeah. Sayo umetoka Olympic estate where the teacher would jump with the pipe and so sit tukienda Starehe that's
Olympic primary.
Yeah, Olympic primary. So kulikuwa na hiyo so me I used to prefer corporal to working. Fuck working. Like you have a whole afternoon from 2 to 6.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because kimis working party now the name is taken for the strokes. Alafu nazichukua like Monday evening around 7. And pale tuko.
And what was the schedule like? Did you guys used to wake up at 3-4 a.m.?
No. It was actually against the law to wake up that early. So the official waking up time was 6 a.m. But it was that schedule was so tight because you have to wake up by 6. Umeshawa umedu nini umefika DH by 6:30. Yeah, so this 30 minutes it's very tight. So kitu kwa nafanya sawa watu wanaamka early kidogo ndio at least ushawe before watu waingie. So kulikuwa na hiyo
alafu breakfast alafu mnaingia
breakfast alafu tunaingia chuo. So tungeingia class because after breakfast unaweza rudi kwa room brush your teeth nini class goes down around 8. Classes would start around 8 and then they end at around 4. Then 4 to 6 mko free. 6 same thing mnaenda roll call. So they have to know who's there. And then 6:30 dinner. Then around 7:15 preps. Yeah, so preps would go till around 9 if you're in form 1. I think form 1 and form 2 ni mpaka 9. I think form 3 and form 4 10.
Alafu after hiyo kila mtu anafaa kwenda kwa room.
Yeah, kila mtu anafaa kwenda kulala.
But the guys used to extend reading, huh?
Yeah. People would extend.
Majority ama just a few guys?
A few. Kuna watu kazi walikuwa tunapenda kulala. But then there are others who read. Yani kuna watu walikuwa nasikia hata saa 9 they are somewhere like wamesneak somewhere just wanna. In
my school there's another guy, his name is I've forgotten his name. I don't know if it's Elvis. So this guy he used unaona mlango ukifungua mlango hivi kidogo. There is a crack on the door. So he used to hide in class. Then he reads with the light from that crack. Like some sort of crazy wild dog you get. Some people used to macho zake ziliharibika because that's crazy, man. You're reading with
kuna watu walikuwa wanataka nini, wanataka that sinaja hiyo by that time I think also the only way to success, because hatuko najua corruption itakuwa this legal but the only way to success was education.
No, the reason I'm bringing it up is like I'm trying to understand the difference between, because now when Griffin Chomokad, the place tanked. What do you think so? Why do you think that happened?
I actually don't know. I think kuna wale watu maybe they used to fear Griffin, so they'd give 100%, because Griffin you used to have this principle of if you're going to do something, make sure you do it to the best of your ability. Nacheki. That's why hata Muji was like them. One of the things I learned from him was that's why like me everywhere I've worked, media hapa, I always give 100%. So he used to have, that was his like mantra. So na feel kama vile alitoka, there are people who started to give 50%. Nacheki. And then some teachers relaxed, and then now ikaanza kuenda chini. So hizi wana try to push up, because at least nimeona this time nika walikuwa top 10 if I'm not wrong. But that's the reason. Hakukuwa na kitu teka leakage. Msikia gani wanasema there is leakage. Watu wako wanalala saa 9. There was never anything like that.
Because I've always been really curious about why these guys were different. Were they reading more? You know, and I'm happy about these things like Sujui abolishing preps and stuff like that. Because look at the kids who I was doing as a personal study. Are we good? So I was doing a study. Most of these kids who go to USIU, at that time USIU was really hot those days. They grew up and became very good businessmen. Okay, and then another thing they had was confidence. He can get into a meeting, he can do a presentation, like his communication. Hakuwa na hiyo fear. But now the 844 system gave us fear, so that you can be a brilliant guy, but you can't express yourself. You get? So you've gotten an A, but you express, your part you express. You can't.
Like, I have to be a doctor.
Doctor, lawyer, engineer.
So I feel like that system is that's why kids were say Braban, you know, admit their bus going to school at like 8:30. Like that's the time the kids are going to school. The time our kids must at 5 a.m. over here roundabout. You see them. So I think it's more how you do it than, you know, it's more of the quality than the quantity.
The quantity.
So
alafu koza me like, because I also learned in like a shitty primary school, Olympic Estate. Because
Olympic, it was good for Kibera.
Olympic we had to be in school at 7. Alafu mkiwa at 7, kama hiyo mkiwa class, because mimi nilienda nikiwa class 5 so at 7 the earliest time kutoka ni 5 p.m. You are class 5 students, like standard 5. Then
5 p.m.
Yes, 5 p.m. Sometimes they'd extend to 7.
Serious?
And your kids. So umetoka from 7 to 7. Then ukiwa class 8, that was normal. 7 to 7 was standard. Alafu ukaa watu wajui kitu wanachapwa. So they assume it helps, but it doesn't help.
So what approach are you doing with your daughter? More relaxed?
It's very relaxed. Like hata majuzi kitu ile happen is like one of the teachers, the present teacher threatened like a kid, and then my kid came home, she was scared. So I remember telling the mom like, hey, would you please call this dude and just try to respectfully tell him like, even if he's planning to use violence on other kids, I use as like sisi mtoiwe tusitumie violence, because tukamwambia like mwambie the dad used to help us school because of violence, because I hated school because of that shit. So vile alikuwa wife alikuwa niambia that dude was rude because he couldn't believe like how can you say kids are not supposed to be beaten. So but me na believe in you, like if you can't reason with the kid, mistake ni yako as the adult.
Just angalia most of those kids wenye tulikuwa hizo mashule man tulitana utakuna kitu naomba.
No, it's because you've been abused, you guys.
It's abuse. It's abuse.
You can't express yourself.
I remember tulikuwa class 2 na mwalimu anakaa na maths. Kila question umekosa ni kiboko.
It was. I think those teachers were highly depressed. You guys kuna siku nilihepa chuo kwa Westland Primary, I was in Westland Primary. Nikaenda Sarit, you guys, nikachill the whole day, you guys. But now my dad discovered the next day because nilikuwa nimeficha bag. Hey, you guys nilivunjwa, you guys. But now how do you balance between discipline and this other light?
The thing is, vile tu hata ulikuwa kwa podcast ukinienjoy your week. Hiyo ilikuwa. So hiyo waganimeachia wife. Like come to. So now wife, I think because of the fact she's half Giriama, half Chaga, so this Giriama side has that Swahili sanifu and what I've come to discover is ukithreaten mtu na Swahili sanifu it's actually a threat. It's a threat like normally omtoi cause mimi nikiongea na yeye unataka namthreaten na kizungu ananiangalia
no but anajua you guys may think it's an energy
it's an energy
kuna energy una broadcast
but still ile Kiswahili sanifu muona gaikitumika anati kabisa so me ikikamiki to discipline I've left that for wife come to nini mi simguzagi like I've never hit her I've never cause unajua kusimia mi buda kwa inichapa wewe kwa nitandiko na buda kwa mi buda kwa ananichapa buda alikuwaga mtu wa threats so alikuwa anapata kwa threat na kijaka zile za kachie ukata dhine ngato that's like if I stand up I'm going to kill someone that dude never killed
not you guys jangos are some of the most eloquent guys
not ever with me alikuwa na hizo threats until niko high school hizo threats zilikam to reality
or you said fix maybe you guys became harder headed
ulifanya
budangu ashi nirusha kutoka first floor you
guys unafa one day you guys utaongeza story iconic he threw you off the balcony
not the balcony like nilipanda juu so like niliona mse ataniwa alichukua some kambao tukukuchiso nikapanda kwa stairs nikidhani ataniacha sasa unajua uko rooftop you guy alinifuata huko you guy
that is crazy man
kulikuwa na some nini inaitwaje some shop so ndio kwa ile kashop ya mabati
ukaangukia
hapo ananiuliza is this a marketplace my guy
the same day
like after 3 days
oh you ran away
but inakuonyesha pia they had anger issues because ndio urushe mtu hivyo like that's
and then kuna watu walitumia hadi leo sionangi kama hiyo word ni right kutumia kwa mtu he was like you guy kuna watu machokorana neza za watoto wengine so like usinijaribu tena I'm like shit dude give me from to him
I think one of the guys who should host is some of these younger Gen Z guys I think they are going through some sort of different upbringing than us guys you guys
because yetu ilikuwa gana like a certain level of violence that was also not good but it's interesting kusikia hiyo nini
budako we are friends like sasa kulikuwa sasa ilibidi tukakuwa na heshima fulani so like says is like my
your buddies now
see buddies exactly
but you're cool
kuna respect fulani like I niambia na message
because even like hiyo itafanya ni wakati like one of the cause nikiinterview say I always try to get something out of them that maybe wako wamepatia na pali so I remember there's this one artist alipatia story of how there's this once he was so angry at the dad that he just took out a knife and he was like fuck it let's do this and then because the dad used to beat his mom nacheki so but eventually niambia aliniuliza nikata hiyo part so nikaikata but kwa very interesting story of how pia as a man ama as a little boy we always also protective of our mothers so this guy used to say like budaka watumia madhake kaa punching bag he's 12 years old 12 asema like bucket alitoka na kisu kambia buda jo tuende
so what
like the interesting thing ilikuwa mother ndiye katana mother alimtania so now it was like so like
you don't respect your dad
so now akahepa because I think your generation pia my mother walikuwa na ile wanafikiri that's part of life like being beaten by the husband
right
part of love
no that's crazy man do you get a lot of that like you have a guest alafu anakupigia kukwambia kata
kuna kuogana hizo na mu understand because mpaka mu enjoy watu like that's when I know it's like I'll make you talk about something you are not ready to talk about
how do you do that do you prepare how do you push guys to the edge
because I think ni ile sometimes if you ask someone kitu alafu waache tu ajiachilie unajua na zit back it helps alafu wakiona kuna ile time naweza kuwa nabonga na mtu anashare kitu alafu pia mimi na share some fucked up shit so yeye pia na get into the groove ana
you guys know your show is the first time I shared publicly the story on your radio so when I left I was like should I call this guy and tell him to delete that part
hiyo ningeshtuka cuz ningekuambia hiyo basi no consequences no anything cuz sita kudanganya like kuna zile parts muaga worried like even nani Desagu jo hiza joka utajua but sure Desagu I was there like damn I hope Desagu atanipigia cuz what we did, we talked about family tussles and the way people fight for property. So Desagu alikuwa anapatia na story about how when his dad died, he had all this property and now everyone is fighting because there's prime property and then kuna hii property ingine iliko nyuma yake and everyone wants this prime. Unajua kuna mtu anataka hii,
wanataka hiyo yenye kwa kando ya road.
And now they are fighting for it as a family. And you know Desagu is a very laid back guy. You never know so much about his life. So before it went live, I was like, I hope Mseta Nicole, because it was such an interesting thing, because inakuonyesha how I'm sure a lot of people are going through that bullshit. So we kuna kogana hizo.
Alafu story ya wazee wa kitambo wako wanaacha will, that's
watu wa kitambo wako wanaacha will. But interesting thing ni tuko tumebonga na juu ya will. I remember when I was editing that nilibambika sana vile ulikuwa like, who is going to inherit my stuff?
You guys, it's a major question. You guys, these mics, nani ata inherit? You guys, Steve Chalo atazibeba, you guys. So now, do you have any favorite? By the way, there's a question which I haven't asked yet. Do you have, when you are especially starting out, did you have any problem getting like good guests, like people saying no?
Funny enough, because I think our first ever guest was Jua Kali. Na Jua Kali, mi na Jua Kali tumejuana for long. Alafu Jua was also the first guy to tulifanyaga 3 hours na yeye. Because when we called him, that's when we noticed like, watu wanaongea tu. So Jua alijiachilia, kajiachilia and we ended up doing like 3 hours with him.
You think they like there was a demand for an artist just to have a conversation? See kama it is a mainstream media.
Yeah. I think inakuaga cause mainstream media inakuaga the same questions. So with podcast unza humanize watu. Nacheki. So even like sisi hapa tukibonga juu ya our shitty bosses, there's someone else who has shitty bosses in another industry. It's the same bullshit they're going through. So ni kama cause wamezoea these perfect beings. Mostly waga like these TV presenters are like perfect. Even I think like you said that was really funny like tukiwa na wewe ni vile uko unasema the way you'd love to hear someone be like wife ajanipatia for this long unacheki. So
how do you deal?
You see that's humanizing, but hawatachukua ni humanizing, they'll think like that's too TMI. It's not TMI, you're sharing something that a lot of people are going through. And so I feel like your podcast zina bring you
so after Jua Kali
after Jua
the ball just started rolling.
Kuna wale imekuwa ni like wana cancel last minute but eventually they show up, so those ones have happened. But the most bullshit that ever happened was an artist who's not in quotes relevant. Najua like it's one of those like naweza sema ni washed out ama nini like
wa kitambo
mtu wa kitambo alituonyesha madharau like on the day of the shoot hakuwa anachukua simu and then after kutochukua simu what happened like tukabonga later in the day sindio. So later in the day I was like you know I understand you are busy blah blah blah, something came up,
you're still treating him
something came up, so when can we do it, nikaacha yeye mwenyewe choose. Akasema maybe I think that was on a Friday. So the guy was like let's do it Tuesday, 100% we're doing it on Tuesday. Tuesday did the same bullshit.
He langered
and then you're there seated like I'm like Octo didn't do that, Calligraph didn't do that, King Kaka didn't do, you know these are big artists. Then this motherfucker does that. Then I notice you time inakuonyesha like sometimes madharau waga someone is trying to kujilift and the only way they can lift themselves is by trying to
pull you down. You guys, who was that guy you guys?
Sasa siwezi sema out of hata kwa nini yetu kusema ilikuwa zile za jua tu ni washed out.
No, but there are many guys like that.
Alafu jua tu ni these people who are classified as legends. Figure to legend this, legend that.
So who's the guy
very soon we'll have a real legend. Because very soon I need kudungia nani Nameless. I need to call Nameless. Because Nameless na that's a real legend. Your legend ile like kids know you, whatever know you. But ukipata tu mabuda tu peke yake ndo wanakujua.
Did you come for the roast of Nameless?
But I watched
it was dope. Kondo the live event. You know the one for Showmax they edited.
Kuna vile ukato.
The live one was dope. That guy is it's a really and then he's a very good sport. Yeah, he's a very good sport. So politicians, do you reach out to them?
Yeah, politicians, funny thing hata na nikupigia nani saa hizi Kennedy Moredhi, because I was telling Kennedy Moredhi, you know him, that former NTV presenter.
Oh yeah.
NTV news guy. So nika dark skin kama mimi na kumjui lakini tunaelewa
the youth of today
the youth of today. So Kennedy nilikuwa nikibonga naye, he even gave me his number, told me just call him, he's going to pick up your phone. But I'm like alipatia number ya Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria's number. So I think like
come now,
Moses Kuria is like the most iconic person ever, you know, like he speaks his mind.
Yeah, true.
So but nikitu nataka kutry, I really want to try and sit down with them also to and interview them from a different angle ya hii mheshimiwa. You know that mheshimiwa shit is, it makes them, they're not accountable for shit.
Yeah, true.
It's quite interesting to have that conversation.
You guys, so Nani is back to podcasting, you guys. I don't know if it's called a podcast. Jalas, you guys.
Yeah, Jalas is doing anafanya hiyo yake, anafanya nini, which inakuonyesha how Kenya is such an interesting country, because I don't think you could be able to do that in like Europe. Those really developed democracies, you'd have to choose one. Reason being, you can't openly as a politician advocate for a brand like hii brand ya
kwani he's still doing ads.
Yeah, he's still doing ads.
He's doing ads.
Yeah, he's still doing ads. Yeah. As usual.
Anafanya nini? Jamex transportation.
Yes.
Ndio shona hiyo joke yangu yenye niliingilia Jalas. Ilienda viral you guy.
I think nilionaga.
Ni ya kitambo kiasi.
Fresh.
It really went viral. So you guys, this guy is still advertising.
Yeah, he's still advertising. So as a politician, so I know, because right now atasema nini, it's just driven by money. Haizi kuwa passion.
You think he needs some extra cash?
Because no, money is addictive, man. Like you can never have enough. So now he wants the whole cake.
But do you think it's wise to leave what you're doing, you're so good at, to now become a politician?
I think in Kenya, yes. If you want to be a billionaire.
But you guys, that's corruption, man. This other money is clean, man.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people ufanyaga juu it helps you. Alafu pia it gets you in rooms that you never find yourself in.
No, but you can get into those rooms from your gift, you guys.
Yeah, kuna hiyo cause I think ni hiyo plus this, you know, that job also comes with pension, iko na benefits zingine zile zinakufuata for the rest of your life. So unajua hata akiwa one term MP,
no, you need to be 2 term to get benefits.
Oh, to get benefits. But I think hizo ndio vitu zina, so the Kenya it's never, politicians are not driven by policy, they're not driven by wanting to help the country. It's always about me. So I think that's the reason, like even with all the money that yuko nayo, but I don't feel like he needs more.
In fact, I think now when you get politics, okay, this is just my own theory, I think you start losing money, especially initially. I think when you get to the level where now you're in cabinet, that's when now you start making real money. But this low MP, I think you lose cash.
Only vile wanafaitia CDF, ku CDF hiyo ndio time ya kuchuna. You understand? It's the time to steal.
I think the corruption part.
Yeah,
so that's why I'm wondering, why would you leave Ikonini? And okay, I don't know if you have political plans.
I don't think I'd ever. The fact I don't think Jesus existed, I don't think sometimes anivotia. So and I go like, amesema Yesu si Mungu.
You guys. So if you see, like, I think there are levels you can reach as a private individual where you'll have that global access that you're looking for just because of your very good gift. But sasa most Kenyans, when you get famous, kidogo politics. That makes sense to me, man.
Yeah, Kenya inakuwa strictly for money, because even look at Jaguar, it was just for money. Like this is an opportunity to make money. That's why like mtu anashindagua how shit was Uhuru that even Jaguar left him. like kila mtu alimehepa.
Guys abandoned that guy. A rabid dog, you guys. Where the heck is Jaguar now, you guys?
I don't know. Not checky, but like you look at even the Jaguar situation. Jaguar running for Starehe MP at the same time as Boniface Mwangi. If there was any shred of honor in Jaguar, ye mwenye ange step back aseme there is a better leader than this guy take, but because it's me, that's why he did it. And I don't blame him because I think we come from such a individualistic society, selfish, and it's always about what will I
get. I've seen Chipukizi now is deep in cover.
Yeah, he's deep in cover. Chipu jo chukua simu jo, tukagi simu siku hizi jo. Nikuzie sana kanamwambia nataka hiyo tropas ya because I really wanted a session with Itumbi. I think it would be dope. Iko nini na Itumbi. So nani alikuwa ameniambia ndio Chipu alikuwa ameniambia inakuja alilenga simu jo.
But umemcall mara moja.
Nimemcall mara kadhaa. Mimi fanya na kitu moja na mimi.
Picha ya ulimi yako. Take na kulamba bro banakuja.
I think you're like baki. But kitu moja fani na mimi umoga na hiyo like musabaga sinaga aibu. Like if you have something that I really want like him I always feel like that Itumbi interview on Iko Nini would be so good because we can talk about everything. Alafu pia naweza put on the spot. There are things that zilashafanya because I admire the dude as a political strategist, one of the best to ever do it. Sindio? As an online guy, he's very good. But then he has the bullshit side, like the kidnap story where it's ish.
Yeah, true.
And you're like, so na feel Iko Nini would be a very good, it's a better platform than this mainstream media. It's going to be a very structured. Yeah. So
I think it's also a mark of a true journalist. When you push, you don't give up. You push until you get you get the mark, man. But I think by the end of the year, you'll be hitting like 100,000 plus. Even before the end, I think. So you're going
to 30 or 37.
I think you guys are growing by 5K a week, huh?
2K, maybe 2K.
Yeah, 2K a week. So I think with YouTube, it reaches an exponential level where you start hitting 10K.
Watu samagati tukifika 60 from 60 to 100 apparently it goes very fast.
But now the bigger you get, the more your words will be heavier, you guys. Are you normally scared of that? Like you see the bigger you grow, a little thing that you say will be taken so seriously.
Kuna kwa gana hiyo. But pia on the other side you look at Lambistic is 300,000 deep talking shit. I'm not planning.
But maybe it helps that guy is in America.
Yeah, it helps. So yes, hicho. But I will try to keep it as real as possible.
Yeah, I think so, man.
Till the last minute. You'll like have those honest conversations. If you're not attacking individuals, I think you can be real for long. But ile Lambistic, shida ni waga kuna zingine zake ni personal attacks. It's not about what ama what. But yetu jo ikwagi personal. I think tunaweza inini. Hatuta change sana.
So man.
What's the ultimate future for Iko Nini like?
Has get Revolt and Complex, those two. Mtu yote anazijua. These are like YouTube podcast companies za US. So that's what I want, like something big, like just but more like MacG than anything. Because niliwachile ni yako ya MacG, that shit was dope.
The one for that guy.
That was really good. So neza taka hivyo hiyo level ya MacG because you see like MacG sits with politicians and also comedians and whatever. Siasha kaa chini pale na kina Malema.
Can you imagine you guys?
MacG like he posts a video, you're like one day later 450,000 views. You're like what the fuck? 450,000.
Juicy, he had another guy called DJ Fresh. That guy was fired for sexual allegations. And I think
sexual allegations.
So MacG was out. Akaachia home say, that guy is doing well, you guys. So Iko Nini will just be like it's bigger than you, I'm sure. Because now you're doing weekend updates and some politics thing with other people. So I'm sure your vision is for it to be larger than just you.
Replace the mainstream media. Have like this one platform where, because mainstream media is the same bullshit. Like it's the same. Like even for artists, it's what inspires you. So when you wrote this track about blah blah blah, why are you trying to diss them? Those bullshit questions they ask. So atutaki, they call it chasing clout. You don't have that clout.
And what's your audience like, male or female?
Mostly male. I'd say like last time I checked was 89% male, 11% female.
Because even this one, it's young, but it's 98% like 98% male.
Girls. I think girls just don't want to do seated talking shit because the real masculine men will always have something misogynistic about us. Like we might not call it misogyny, but for them it's that.
It feels to them like it's that, right?
Yeah. So
but see there are channels zenye ladies sasa 80%.
Yeah. So now zao wenyewe kwa wenyewe, like I know most of them are watching TMIs, you know, the messy in between. They're watching over 25 at Mantok.
But then you guys are watching Mantok also.
Yeah, girls.
You guys share what Mantok?
Ma clips. Juju. Nishaisikia watu wakisema it's a Barbie version of iko nini. I don't know how true that is.
You guys need to get some accent, you guys.
Yeah, when I need to get nini. But watch clips zao on nini. Funny enough on Twitter and nini. Ka always mi kuna vile tu like from the side I've come from. Unajua like the growing up and the what when people are too Barbie I can't relate to them.
Maybe I also have the same problem, man.
So more gonna you like when if you're too Barbie I'm there.
Yeah. You feel like these guys are faking.
Yeah. Not even they're faking, but I feel like she does it to see same. Like she dako. Yeah.
Oh, you're coming from a different world, eh?
Coming from a different world.
But I think, and just to wind it up, I think like men need more of these spaces to just talk, you guys.
Just talk,
because you guys are going through crap, So now if you...
let me say it again, man. Asante sana for the nini we did pamoja, like watu wale watu kila mtu mpaka hata sana za kurequest ndio amini kwa kweli request. I'm planning to start the Mwafrika podcast and wife alikuwa like you need to ask Siangani to interview you on the first.
No, me I'll come any day.
So utaneni say but watu wali enjoy, like people hata even if you go through the comments people really enjoyed considering yours was in December where most of our audience walikuwa home hawajawatch nini because I need data to re-advertise it to them but so pia na kunid even soon pia unaiko nini.
No, I think we'll do many of these things. You guys, you hook me up with Rapture, you guys. I'm one of his fans, you guys. I'd like to have him here, man.
Hey, Rapture ni kuniambia tu alafu unamtaka when then I tell him kuziaza 9 to 5 but hii yako inaisha haraka so he still has time to go to his 9 to 5.
Yeah, tutaongea off camera, man. But thanks for coming, thanks for the support, you guys. Thanks for sharing those clips, you guys. We don't take it for granted, man.
Pia asante kwa kuni-invite.
So, cheers, man. So see you on the next one.
Thanks for the comedy, man. This is one funny dude. If you don't know that.
So cheers, man. See you guys on the next one.